Thank you, Chloe. And thank you, We Protect Global Alliance, for organizing this important event on laws to protect children. The fight against child sexual abuse is my #1 priority as commissioner. And the most powerful weapon I have in this fight is legislation. So I'm glad that we're hearing today. Also, we're going to hear about important new UK and Australian efforts. And soon, as you mentioned, I will present comprehensive new EU legislation to turn the rising tide of child sexual abuse. We are all here committed to this cause. Let's remind ourselves what is at stake. The Council of Europe estimates 1 child out of 5 has experienced sexual violence. Last year, as you mentioned yourself, Chloe, internet companies sent 29 million reports of child sexual abuse to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children only, an increase of 30% compared to the year before, including 85 million pictures and videos of children being abused, being raped. The number of images is increasing year by year, and the children in these pictures are getting younger and younger. The number of 7 to 10 years old has increased threefold. In the United States, 52% of convictions involve pictures of infants, sometimes newborn babies, raped babies. This is very hard to talk about. I can almost feel your discomfort through the screen, but we must talk about it because too few people are aware of the full scale of the problem. Many of these pictures and videos are of known abuse, known rapes. The Internet Watch Foundation told the story of Olivia. She was raped and tortured starting when she was 3 years old until she was 8. Then she was rescued. And 6 years later, the picture of her rape was still online, shared 5 times every working day. We can't imagine what it's like to be raped and to know the pictures are still out there, that someone is using your worst terror for pleasure. Again and again and again and again. Not all these pictures are old. 17 million of these pictures and 5 million videos are from new abuse, of new rapes. And that's to do with the twisted economy of child sexual abuse. Abusers meet in huge online communities, like the Boys Town network that had 400,000 members before police took it down. And the entrance fee to these communities is often new, unseen child sexual abuse material. In other words, to watch videos of children being raped, abusers must rape children and share it online. Last week, European Parliament and member states reached a political agreement on the Digital Services Act, which sets out a new standard for the accountability of online platforms regarding illegal and harmful content. And in a few weeks, I will put forward proposals to fight and prevent child sexual abuse, to help law enforcement rescue children and arrest and prosecute perpetrators, and to take down child sexual abuse from the internet. I want to make it mandatory for internet companies to detect, report, and remove child sexual abuse material. Internet companies are now voluntarily reporting child sexual abuse. Based on one of these reports, law enforcement recently rescued 146 children in an international cooperation supported by Europol. Police depend on the reports to save children, more than on anything else. Most tips on child sexual abuse don't come from the public. Most tips to police come from internet companies. In some member states, 80% of the tips. And that's because abusers are usually not strangers. They are people of trust, parents, family, friends, relatives, people who know the children. And they commit their crimes behind closed doors and terrorize the children into silence, but share the evidence of their crimes online, where in most cases only internet companies can find it. We should not leave this responsibility to the companies. Democratically accountable politicians should establish the rules when to detect and what to detect. We are failing the children, and I want to take my responsibility. Too few companies are doing what is needed. 5 companies send 99% of child sexual abuse reports to NECMEC. And one company, Meta, alone sends 95% of all reports. So those 85 million pictures and videos I mentioned, that's just the tip of an iceberg. There's a mountain of undetected suffering underneath. And if it's voluntary, companies can change their policies whenever they like. That's why I want to make detection of child sexual abuse mandatory. So more companies will send more reports, so law enforcement can rescue more children, so more images will be taken down. I will also propose to set up a European center to fight and prevent child sexual abuse. The center will play a key role to make sure reporting translates into children rescued and perpetrators prosecuted. By helping companies to know what's legal and illegal in the EU, so that they know what to detect, report, and remove. By helping law enforcement in member states to get reports of abuse to investigate, together with Europol. The center will work closely with partners from around the world. The center will support and empower victims and work on prevention by bringing together experts and sharing best practices. I also want to work on prevention by promoting safety by design. Australia and UK and companies are doing important work to make sure child safety is not an afterthought online. We take it for granted that our children's crayons and paints are not poisonous, that their toys can't hurt them. But online, these rules don't apply. Children must also be safe when they play video games online and chat with their friends, especially because we know abusers are increasingly targeting children in video games, and online grooming in chat apps is also on the rise. So it's good news that Instagram and TikTok are turning off direct messaging from unknown adults to children. And we need more companies to follow their example and put child safety first. My legislation and initiatives address the key technological challenges posed by the digital age. First, the massive volume of data. Every month, people send each other 21 billion pictures using Facebook Messenger alone. In these billions of innocent selfies, holiday snaps, and cute pictures of cats, hashing and other technologies can quickly and accurately detect child sexual abuse. They do so blindly, not seeing, not judging. The volumes of data are immense, too much for human eyes and hands to handle. Police in Germany captured 3,000 terabytes of data in child sexual abuse investigation. They calculated it would take one police officer 2,000 years to analyze the data. Artificial intelligence is the only way to analyze these amounts of data. And that's why I made sure that in its new mandate, Europol will be able to develop artificial intelligence and to be able to process large volume of data. The second challenge is encryption. Abusers hide behind the end-to-end encryption that's easy to use, but nearly impossible to crack, making it difficult for law enforcement to investigate and prosecute crimes. Abusers hide and children suffer in the dark. We must turn on the light. We have set up an expert group to look for technical solutions to find child sexual abuse in end-to-end encrypted communications, and these solutions exist. Some voices create a false antagonism between protecting privacy and protecting children. Of course, we can do both. I also want my data to be safe when I shop online, when I bank online, when I chat online. But we need to ask ourselves, what about the privacy of the children? What about Olivia? What about the pictures of her rape? Is that not a gross violence of her privacy? My proposals will uphold fundamental rights and privacy of the children and all internet users. The center will act as a strong safeguard, making sure that detecting, reporting, and removal is accountable and transparent. We need to demystify technology and to realize the only way we can take those pictures down is by using technology to detect, report, and remove child sexual abuse with the necessary human checks. There is no other way. And we must ask ourselves, what will happen if we don't pass this legislation? Unfortunately, we know exactly what will happen. Then we don't have mandatory detection, reporting, and removal, and no voluntary detection either. Next year, emerging legislation in EU expires. Emergency legislation I introduced to remove legal uncertainty about voluntary detection. Legal uncertainty created by new EU privacy rules. Because of this uncertainty, voluntary detection dropped by nearly 50% last year. So if my new legislation does not pass, we will not be turning on the lights. We will be turning off the lights, leaving children in the dark, at the mercy of their abusers. The choice I offer is not about better protecting children. The choice is between protecting our children or not at all. And that's why my proposals are so vital. And that's why I ask for your support. I ask you, think about Olivia and all those other children. Think about what's at stake and use all the expertise you have, all the knowledge and power in business, in technology, in advocacy, and speak out, because a child's voice sounds so soft. But you can speak out loud and clear and make the difference in this vital debate. Thank you.